This year's Dasai celebrations come to a conclusion tomorrow with Kojagrat Purnima, while people have continued to receive Tika, Jamra and blessings from the elders on the fourth day of Vijaya Dasami Tika today. In other news, Nepal faltered in the finals of the three-nation T20 series, failing to go past UAE in the tournament final played earlier today. Meanwhile, the Israel-Gaza warfare has completed its 3 weeks of hostilities today, with neither side relenting to pressure from international community to observe a ceasefire. Good evening, I'm Amar Singh Pradhan and these are the headlines of the hour. The government offices that reopened after Dasai were a quiet look. 300,000 Dasai revelers returned to the capital in the past 3 days. At least 50,000 people suffer from burn injuries every year in Nepal. Difficulty in getting primary treatment in the absence of infrastructure. Health Ministry a silent spectator. Israeli troops conduct targeted raids inside Gaza for the second straight night as they prepare for the next stage of war against Hamas. Cornered Pakistan battling against South Africa in a do-or-die encounter of the ICC World Cup 2023. Pakistan bowled out of 2,270 runs. The post-Dasai hustle and bustle has started in the federal capital, Kathmandu. The Dasai revelers who had reached their home districts have started returning to Kathmandu Valley. The government offices too have started from today as the Dasai holidays ended. On the first day after Dasai holidays ended today, there was a feeble presence of civil servants at the government offices. The number of office bearers and service seekers was less in some of the government offices that used to see a large throng of people on other days. The Transport Office in the capital's Ekantakona and the Department of Passport in Tripureshwar did not see a large crowd of service seekers like on other days. The Kathmandu Valley that had put on a deserted look during the main days of the Dasai festival is slowly resuming normalcy. The Dasai revelers who had gone to their hometowns have started coming back to Kathmandu. It is estimated that some 300,000 people have returned to Kathmandu in the past few days after observing Dasai Tika on Tuesday. The Jadibudi area in the capital's Tinkune witnessed a traffic congestion around noon today. There was a queue of long route passenger buses that came to Kathmandu via Ramechhap, Kavre, Dolakha, Okaldunga, Sindhupalchok, Solukhumbu among other places along the BP highway. Once they descended in Kathmandu, they looked in a hurry to reach their destinations. When our reporting team reached Kalanki around 4 p.m., the scenario was quite matching as a queue of long route passenger buses were seen there. Talking to our news team, the passengers said that they did not have an enjoyable journey back to Kathmandu as some of these passengers were made to stand all the way. Some of them also complained of crumbling highways that made their travel less enjoyable. During the time of Dasai, the transport operators take advantage of intense pressure from the passengers as they charge hefty amount for return tickets to Kathmandu. The traffic police have also received a number of complaints against transport operators for accommodating passengers more than their capacity. An estimated 1.3 million Dasai revelers had left Kathmandu Valley from the day of Ghatasthapana. The Gurkha Army ex-servicemen's organization has once again given an ultimatum to the British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak to implement equal pension for Gurkha Army on par with the British Army. This comes amid preparations for a ministerial level meeting between the United Kingdom and Nepal. The ex-Gurkha Army have expressed doubts over the British government's willingness to address their demands. On behalf of the Gurkha Satyagraha Struggle Committee, Krishna Bahadur Rai submitted the ultimatum at the British Prime Minister's office in London. The governments of the two sides are to hold a meeting on the 22nd of November next month. Former Gurkha servicemen have said if the meeting fails to discuss their demands of equal pension pay, they will be compelled to go for another round of hunger strike. The upcoming November 22nd meeting is the third ministerial level meeting and comes after several stages of discussion and preparations. And it's now time for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with their opinion.
Public Pulse.
And yesterday we had asked you what should be done to control smuggling through border points. 23% of you voted for option A, ensure active security management. 62% voted for option B, honesty by officials. And 15% voted for option C, action against those guilty of involvement. And a question for today. And our question is, what can be done to facilitate burn injuries in the country itself? Your options are option A, build infrastructure, option B, create human resource, and option C, expand service. The voting is on. Type any WS, select your option A, B, or C, and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And in our public voice segment, we have asked people in several provinces what should be done to make the government's plan of establishing industries, villages at local levels effective. Let's take a look at what they have to say.
ऐन कानुन बनाउने औद्योगिक क्षेत्र बनाउने सो सम्बन्धी नियम कानुनहरू बनाउने र कार्यान्वयन गर्ने तहमा चाहिँ एकदम व्यवस्था गरेको पाइन्छ।
काल्पनिक नीतिहरू ल्याइरहेको कारणले चाहिँ धेरै अब युवाहरू पनि विदेश हिँड्नु परेको र यो औद्योगिक ग्राम चाहिँ सफल हुन नसकेको।
बिना योजना बिना अध्ययन यो औद्योगिक कार्यक्रम ल्यायो, त्यसकारणले यो सफल हुन सकेन।
सरकारबाटै गडबडी जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई चाहिँ।
सरकार आफ्नैमा व्यस्त छन्, कसरी सरकार बचाउने, कसरी चलाउने, जनताप्रति केही चाहनै छैन। उद्योगतिर त झन् के सोच पुर्याउँछन्।
भिजनरी नेतृत्व प्राप्त नभएको कारणले यिनी कापीमा लेखिने, नीति त कार्यक्रममा लेखिने मात्रै गर्छन् र यिनले कहिले पनि सफलता पाउन सक्दैनन्।
सरकार आफ्नै पार्टीमा व्यस्त छ, जनताको काममा के ध्यान दिन्छ?
सरकारले नीति नियम बनाए पनि मतलब त्यो स्पष्ट खालको प्रभावशील खालको छैन।
बजेट ल्याउँदा चाहिँ जनमुखी ल्यायो भने कार्यान्वयन हुँदा चाहिँ त्यो चाहिँ कतै पनि कार्यान्वयन नभए देखिने भा हुँदा
वृद्ध भत्ता खाने बेलामा कुर्सीमा राखिएको छ, के विकास गर्छ त्यसले?
दक्ष जनशक्ति स्वदेशमै रोक्ने र स्वदेशमै उद्यमशीलता विकास गरी देशलाई समृद्ध बनाउनका लागि नेताहरूले ध्यान दिनुपर्ने थियो।
उद्योगलाई व्यवस्थापन, बजारीकरण देखि लिएर यिनी सबै कुराहरूको पनि समस्या यो कारणले पनि अहिलेसम्म खास यो औद्योगिक ग्राम अथवा यो उद्योगहरू सञ्चालन हुन सकिरहेको देखिँदैन।
स्थानीय सरकारले चासो दिन नसक्दा नै
सरकारले आश्वासनको मात्रै एउटा चाहिँ खेती गर्ने भएको कारणले चाहिँ नभएको,
नागरिक पनि सचेत नभएको कारण
अहिलेको राजनीतिले नै गर्दाखेरि
स्थानीय तहको त्यो ग्राउन्ड रियालिटी नबुझेर माथि बसेर सङ्घीय सरकारले चाहिँ एउटा हचुवा तालमा बनाएको योजना कुनै पनि हालतमा लागू गर्न खोजे पनि त्यो लागू हुन सक्दैन।
Welcome back, and it's now time for international update. Israeli troops conducted targeted raids inside Gaza for a second straight night, the Israel Defense Forces said, as they prepare for the next stage of war against Hamas in response to the deadly October 7 attacks. Pressure is building on the international community to persuade Israel to allow desperately needed aid into Gaza, where the humanitarian crisis is deepening as Israeli forces conduct daily airstrikes. The UN and several countries in the region have called for an immediate ceasefire, while others, including the EU, advocate for a humanitarian pause in fighting. The main UN agency aiding Palestinians said its operations are being paralyzed in the coastal enclave due to the lack of fuel, as Israel maintains its blockade and insists supplies exist but are controlled by Hamas. Meanwhile, the families of hostages being held by Hamas in Gaza warned the Israeli government their patience has run out and urged authorities to act immediately. The Israel Defense Forces said Sadi Baroud, the deputy head of Hamas's intelligence arm, was killed in a targeted operation. The UN's top humanitarian official, Martin Griffiths, says aid is barely trickling into Gaza after days of warnings over rapidly depleting fuel supplies. A member of a Hamas delegation visiting Rafah says the group cannot release the captives taken during the October 7 attack until there is a ceasefire in Gaza. Doctors at a hospital in Gaza say they are only able to accept critical cases that are in need of surgery, as hospital beds and intensive care unit beds fill up with victims of the ongoing war in the enclave. With all hospitals running out of fuel to power their generators, doctors have warned that critical equipment like incubators for newborns risk stopping. In NASA Medical Complex in Khan Yunis, doctors have been scrambling to help a rising number of patients, including children injured in Israeli airstrikes in overcrowded hospitals that are running short on medicines and fuel due to blockade. The Hamas-run health ministry said 40 medical centers had suspended operations at a time when the bombardment and displacement are putting enormous strain on the system. The World Health Organization warned that a third of Gaza hospitals were not operating. Israel has carried out weeks of intense bombardment of the densely populated Strip following the October 7 Hamas attack on Israeli communities, which it says killed some 1,400 people. Gaza's health minister said on Thursday that 7,028 Palestinians had been killed in the airstrikes, including 2,913 children. As the international community continues to put pressure on Israel for a humanitarian pause to get much-needed aid into Gaza, the United Nations General Assembly is set to vote on a non-binding resolution for an immediate ceasefire. It marks the 2-day of the United Nations General Assembly's rare emergency meeting on the crisis in the Middle East. The 193 members of the United Nations General Assembly are expected to vote on the Israel-Gaza war later today, but as an observer rather than a member, Palestine will not have a say. Jordan, acting on behalf of Arab countries, has proposed a General Assembly resolution calling, among other things, for a humanitarian ceasefire after the smaller, more powerful UN Security Council failed to take action despite the rising death toll from Israel's continued bombardments. If they pass a resolution for an immediate ceasefire, it won't be legally binding, but it will carry symbolic weight. This all comes after representatives of both Palestine and Israel spoke before the body during a rare emergency special session yesterday to address the Israel-Hamas war and the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Among the speakers in attendance was Israel's ambassador to UN, Gilad Erdan. Erdan described the brutality of Hamas attacks on Israeli civilians. Israeli army spokesperson Daniel Hagari has said that an aerial threat had been spotted in the Red Sea region and linked this to a projectile that landed on Egyptian coastal territory there. Egypt's army spokesperson said that an unidentified drone crashed earlier in the morning today near a hospital building in the Red Sea town of Taba near the Sinai Peninsula border with Israel, injuring 6 people. Hagari also updated the number of people confirmed held hostage in Gaza to 229 from a previous count of 222. He said it was partly due to emerging intelligence and identification of foreign nationals who were not found in Israel. Kremlin has said Russia believes it is necessary to maintain contact with all sides in the Israel-Palestinian conflict, defending a decision to invite a Hamas delegation to Moscow, which has prompted Israeli anger. Spokesman Dmitry Peskov said the delegation had met with representatives of Russia's foreign ministry but had had no contacts with the Kremlin. Israel urged Russia yesterday to expel the visiting Hamas delegation, calling the invitation to Moscow deplorable. Demonstrations have gathered in many parts around the world to express solidarity with the Palestinian people in Gaza. This includes the U.S. Wall Street.
Sports news.
UAE won the three-nation T20 series, crossing Nepal in the finals played today by 4 wickets. The defeat halted coach Monty Desai's 16-match unbeaten run on home soil. In the tournament finale played in TU Grand Kirtipur, UAE won the toss as they asked Nepal to bat first. Nepal got off to a positive start with Kushal Bhurtel scoring a half-century as his 50 runs came off 29 balls. Nepal's middle order failed to stabilize the innings as they lost wickets at regular interval. Nepal failed to utilize the last over of the innings, scoring only 1 run. It meant that Nepal's total at the end proved below par. Young spinner Ayan Afzal Khan was the pick of the UAE bowlers as he claimed 3 crucial wickets. Ali Nasser and Jahur Khan shared 2 wickets each for UAE. Chasing 163 runs for victory, opening bat Mohammad Washim provided UAE with a dream start as he scored a quick-fire 45 runs of 22 balls, putting on 71 runs for the first wicket partnership. The partnership eventually made the difference as UAE, despite losing a flurry of wickets, were always ahead of the asking run rate. The other opener, Ayang Sharma, scored 25 runs, while Vrithya Arvind contributed 26 runs. Basil Hamid also chipped in with unbeaten 22 runs to finish off the chase. Avinash Bohra and Gulshan Jha shared 2 wickets each for Nepal. Nepal's fast bowling all-rounder Karan Casey was adjudged player of the series and best bowler as he walked away with the Pulsar 160 motorbike. UAE's Ayan Afzal Khan was voted man of the match. Both Nepal and UAE will now head into the World Cup Asia region qualifiers for the T20 World Cup. Nepal take on Singapore in the opening match of the championship on coming Monday. And those were our latest headlines. Up next is News in Nepali. Good night.